It's Thursday, January 12th, 2012.
I'm Scott.
I'm Rick.
You're going slowly for no reason.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight we talk about MAGFest 2012.
Let's do this. So, you know what? On Monday, we do not have to go to work. Do you know why?
MLK Day.
That is correct. You know that on the list of federal holidays, at least incredibly major holidays that most people get days off for, right?
Yeah.
Only 2 of them are days for specific human beings. There is Martin Luther King Day.
Yep.
Well, Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Yes.
And Columbus Day.
We used to have, now we have President's Day.
President's Day is not for a specific person.
I know, but it was 2 different people.
It was. But anyway, Martin Luther King's awesome. Columbus is dick. We have a day for a really good person and a day for a really shitty person. So I was trying to think, well...
Why don't we have a day for a middle-of-the-road person?
No. Here's the real question that came up at work.
Why isn't there Norman Borlaug Day?
No. Here's the real question.
Okay.
Can you come up with an American better than Martin Luther King, or even as good as, to replace the Columbus Day?
Wow, my brain went through a gigantic list of people who were all disqualified for not actually being American.
That's correct.
Is Norman Borlaug American?
I don't think so.
I don't actually know, and I feel stupid now. We're all both Wikipediaing.
It says he was.
Ah, we got it. That was easy.
Find a third person.
I got one. Goalposts, can't move them.
I'm just saying, there's not many.
Well, we got one, so why don't we switch?
Americans are mostly shitty.
No, we've had some good people, like, I don't know, a lot of the
Martin
founding
Luther
fathers.
King?
FDR.
That was one that I thought of.
FDR's pretty good. Hell, Teddy Roosevelt.
I don't think Teddy Roosevelt deserves a
Does
day.
he deserve it more or less than Christopher Columbus?
Yeah, but
There we
I mean,
go.
I deserve one more than Christopher Columbus.
Thing is, I'm down with the hate on Columbus, but at the same time, a lot of the bad stuff that happened as a result of him was not intentional on his part.
Why don't we have, say, I don't know, Leif Erikson Day?
I don't know.
Or
Why don't we?
Or Eric the Red Day.
Possibly because there are a lot of Italian communities that actually
Italian communities
lobby pretty heavily to keep Columbus Day celebrated in places that tried to stop celebrating
All right,
it.
we'll tell those Italian communities we're going to change it to Marco Polo Day.
Marco.
Polo.
So CES is happening, and
Yep.
nah.
There is nothing.
Eh.
Except I was looking, because there's tons of CES news, you can't avoid it, but you mostly just breeze past most of it because it's almost useless completely.
Yeah, we just had a nice talk in the forum about how most of this stuff is companies manufacturing a product and then trying to manufacture a demand for said product.
Well, I mean, that's how you have to do it, right? Because the demand doesn't exist before you make it.
Well, there is demand for things, but no one makes them. And actually, I wonder why some things don't get made sometimes.
It's because, and I've said this a lot recently, but it seems to me, this is just, I don't want to take this on a tangent, so let me say this without reply. Do not reply to what I'm going to say, and then I will do my news, right?
Oh.
If you look around the world these days, right, we talk about the 1%.
Around the world these
all
days.
the companies have all the money.
Companies have all the money.
Stop it. Okay. All the money is in all the bank accounts of the companies, not even the 1% people, the companies, right? Normal people have no monies. It's companies that have all the monies. Like, Apple has billions in the bank, Google, billions in the bank.
So most
right?
of the business is business to business.
That's right. If you are a business and you want to make money, you should have businesses as your customers, not people, because you can get one customer that's a business and get $1 zillion, or you can spend a lot of money on marketing and on crazy expense to get enough real people customers who each give you $5.
That's why day job I'm in that business, because the B2B has its own acronym for a reason.
Right.
Actually, that's technically an initialism.
Which is why even products that are consumer products these days, such as, electronics, do more to serve other corporations, which will say pay for advertising on those products or such and such, than they do to serve the people buying those products.
So anyway, to keep the tangent away, there was one cool thing at CES.
There was one semi-cool thing at CES, or at least worthy of discussing, and that is Boxee Live TV. So what this is if you have a Boxee Box, you can buy this thing for $50, I don't know why they just didn't come out with a new Boxee Box that has this integrated, but
They will.
Maybe they will.
Or maybe the Boxee Box hardware is not selling well enough to be worth it.
Maybe. And it's a USB on one side and a coax on the other. So it's small, but it's a lot like a video capture card. But it actually doesn't do plain old video capture. What you need to do is plug into it either an antenna for the air or clear QCam, which is what I have, which is unencrypted cable TV.
So it's just a TV tuner card with a USB.
But Boxee provides an interface, the new version, for this particular thing. So even though you'll be using, just over-the-air TV, you don't interact with it in the same way you interact with over-the-air TV, which is changing channels and whatnot.
So here's
right?
the big question.
You're basically using the Boxee awesome interface to watch over-the-air live television in an awesome way.
So here's the big question. Live television, all right, I can see that. I mean, maybe I want to watch the game. But does Boxee now automatically do DVR type stuff, which is...
I don't think so, which is like, why not? Myth TV has done that for
DVR
over
stuff
a decade, I think.
is literally 99% of the reason why I would want to use this. Because if I have a Boxee box or a computer plugged into my TV already, and I'm going to plug the coax into the same TV, why even bother putting it through the Boxee box if all I'm going to do is watch the live thing anyway?
Yeah, I'm still trying to understand this. Like, Myth TV, right, has been around since, let's see, when was Myth TV created? In 2002. It started in April 2002. So for 10 years, Myth TV has been a free DVR that you can install on any computer to turn it into a DVR. How come no other product is doing this? Every DVR is either like one that comes with your cable, or it's like, freaking TiVo, which you had to pay a monthly fee or some nonsense.
Well, you had to pay a monthly fee at least at one point.
Why doesn't someone just sell...
Scott, for the network information, so it actually had a list of all the shows.
Yeah, but why doesn't someone just pay, just sell computers that already have Myth TV on them?
Why doesn't someone? I'll tell you why. One, you'd probably get sued by media companies again. And
all you're selling is computers, which is legal to sell computers,
Yep.
and it's legal to sell Myth TV.
So here's the thing. If I were making a device like that,
And Linux.
the primary feature I'd introduce is straight up automatic commercial blocking coupled with straight up, in case a commercial wasn't blocked by accident, the 30-second minute whatever
I'm just going to
skips.
distribute Myth TV latest stable release on a stable Linux that it works on with hardware that I know it works with.
Also,
And
Myth
that's all I'm
TV
gonna do.
is really hard for normal people to use.
And Boxee also, and a remote.
And I would argue that the majority of the market who is capable of dealing with a DVR that doesn't hold their hands the entire way 100% is also the kind of person who is just pirating everything from Pirate Bay anyway.
See, this is why...
Why even bother with the stupid broadcast
That's
TV?
why, people are worried, right? What really killed Myth TV is piracy. Why should I bother DVRing shit? I'll just download.
Yep, even though they have the same effect, because do you really think that people don't just skip the commercials when they DVR something?
Yeah, so Boxee Live TV, good idea, but A, it only works with Boxee Box. You can't use it with a PC running Boxee, even with the new version.
Now, speaking of which,
Two,
independent of that,
it doesn't, you can't say use encrypted cable. Like, if you take a cable, put it into your cable box, and then take a cable out of that, it won't work. It has to be unencrypted cable. And 3, well, yeah, it's $50. It should be, yeah.
This is cool, but I think it's a terrible product.
I do. The one thing, though, is it does put a good user interface on live TV.
Does it really? What is the user interface?
It looks like a TV guide, only using a Boxee remote.
So where does it get the data?
I don't know where it gets the data.
Because TiVo,
no
you
one's been discussing that.
Pay for that data.
I know no one has been discussing where that data comes from.
Maybe Boxee made a deal, and that's why it costs $50. But even then,
But it looks like Boxee. It has little preview screenshots of every show. It says what time they start. It says whether they're HD. It lets you share what you're watching on Twitter. And it's got everything. All the descriptions of all the shows.
yeah. But does it let me save it in a nice format that I can then use to make a PMV?
No.
So it doesn't do anything I care about.
No.
Awesome. So right along these lines, I just want to point out that there's this article because CES, a whole bunch of manufacturers are talking about making smart TVs. And when they say smart TV, what they basically mean, I'm going to translate.
TV that sort of already has Boxee in it without a Boxee
Not
box,
even that.
but worse than Boxee.
I'm going to translate exactly what this is. They want to make TVs with really shit, slow-ass interfaces that let you see a tiny subset of the censored content on the internet in a painful, slow, and tedious way. that will not be used by anyone who has the skills to use a real computer hooked up to their TV, nor will it be used by anyone who doesn't have those skills because they won't be able to figure this out either.
Yep.
And you know what? The TV I have now, really nice, gigantic TV. It has like Yahoo bullshit in it, and if I plug an Ethernet cable into it, it says it can play videos. Fuck if I could get it to work. And I'm a IT professional.
Oh, you're a glorified clock setter.
So I set this thing
your
up.
TV tells good time.
So I got a web browser to start, right? After like 5 minutes, it loaded. It was just that slow.
I don't understand why these things, cable boxes are the worst. It's like you push down, 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 and down.
And then,
it's like Boxee, at least, is immediately responsive. You push the button, it goes.
So I tried to get it to stream some video from my NAS. Yeah, it's not playing an MKV or an MP4 or, you know what, any fucking format that I have.
Yeah.
And it was just completely useless. Utterly, absolutely useless. And I don't know, like, I don't think there's any market for this at all because literally I think everyone who's smart enough to use something like this
who out there has a whole bunch of videos that they want to watch on the TV that are in the format the TV's going to play.
I know.
That is going to use it.
And there's no way anyone will get the licensing agreements to sell a TV that actually will just play the formats that people typically have. And even then, there might be lawsuits about piracy enablement or whatever. And the interface is just... like, they're guaranteed to be crappy because without a keyboard, you're not going to be able to search for stuff.
And Apple TV has a good user interface, but it can only play, like, Apple things.
And even worse, let's talk about Boxee. Boxee has these little apps, right, that let you see content. I pretty much had to give up on using Boxee for anything but anime that I happen to already have downloaded because it does that really well.
I use it for the Crunchyroll app also. It's pretty much the anime watcher.
But the Crunchyroll app. Let's talk about the apps.
All right.
Crunchyroll app. This is not a problem for me or Scott because I know how to use the mute button on my TV remote, but I want to point out that if you watch a show and an ad comes on, you can't skip it, obviously.
Yeah.
And they disable your volume control until the ad stops.
Well, that's the app does that.
Yeah, I know. The app does that, but that's still bullshit. That angers me. So as a result, why don't I just watch it on the Crunchyroll website?
Because on the Crunchyroll website's the same thing. Ad.
Yeah, but...
and you're not going to tell me that pushing the mute button in the Crunchyroll video player is more convenient than pushing the mute button on your TV remote. You're going to do the same thing and have the
Actually,
same
I have to go
problem.
find my TV remote every time because in Boxee, I got the Boxee remote out, not the TV remote. The point of the Boxee remote was that I didn't need to also use the TV fucking remote.
Well, I have like a bunch of remotes and I got to use the, the remote from
yeah,
my
no,
speaker
I have 3
system.
remotes and I have a Bluetooth keyboard and a USB keyboard.
See, the thing is, if your problem is too many remotes, right? Boxee remote doesn't solve that problem.
No.
Boxee remote solves the problem of I want a keyboard without having to have a keyboard.
But Boxee remote doesn't have any way to do the mouse, so unless you're in Boxee, it's still pretty useless.
Yeah, the Boxee remote doesn't solve that problem. If the problem you want to solve, which is the problem of I have too many remotes, you have to get the Logitech Harmony. The Logitech Harmony is amazing. People don't know about this thing. Basically, it's a lot of setup in the beginning, right? You have to set it all up, and it might be too hard for people who aren't techie, but it should be, if you know how to set up your home theater yourself, you can set it to Logitech Harmony. And what you do is you program it to be like, okay, listen, if I want to watch a DVD, you got to turn on the DVD player, you got to put the TV on video 3, and you got to turn on the receiver and set the receiver to audio input 4. And then you program all that. And then you push the DVD, after you program it, you push the DVD button on the Logitech Harmony, and it will turn off everything that's not the DVD player, turn on the DVD player, and set all those inputs, and you'll with one button press because you programmed it. And then you'll be like, okay, if I want to do the Wii, you got to set the receiver to audio 5 and set the TV to video 1, and you program that in, and you have a Wii button. You push the Wii button, and your TV's in Wii mode. It turns the DVD player off, turns the Wii on.
So anyway,
all that stuff. It's
other
great.
apps. The College Humor app doesn't have all the College Humor videos. It only has their originals.
That's College Humor's fault.
No, it's the app's fault. All right, it's the app's fault. Again, I'll give it that.
College Humor could have made their app include everything.
Let's get to that. The YouTube app. One, I can't close those pop-up ads.
It's slower than using real YouTube.
It's slower, and the search results are different.
Well, that's because you're not logged in.
No, even if so how do I log in?
You don't.
Yeah. So
you're logged into Boxee, you're not logged into YouTube.
Again, that's the app's fault. You know what? Communism didn't work so well as implemented by Russia or China or anyone in the world. But I guess it's just those implementations' fault. The idea must be sound.
That's not
just
the
like
same
Boxee.
thing. No.
I find that Boxee is utterly useless to me compared to a web browser on the TV because I just can't do stuff. And the Xbox, you think, all right, there's a YouTube thing in the Xbox.
That's even worse than Boxee.
Yeah, I really want to put together an expose because I've done a bunch of side-by-side searches and a shit ton of YouTube content is just missing if you use the Xbox 360. And it seems to align with certain companies' ownership of the stuff in the videos. Like, it's not just logged in, not logged in. There's something else going on there.
How about Bidoof? Can you watch Bidoof?
Oh, my God, Bidoof. Why?
He's so angry that he can't watch Bidoof
He's
on
the
his
angriest
Xbox.
Bidoof.
He's got a gun. He's shooting Microsoft. Oh, my God. Oh, now he's up in the cloud
Oh.
with your save games.
All right, so I guess we should get on the main thing, but I do want to talk about this because it's kind of funny, but also sad. You know what they're doing to Kim Jong-il's body?
What?
They're Lenining him.
Okay.
They're going to put him, there's going to be a Lenin body.
That's what they did with his dad, too.
Apparently his dad's body is interred there, but isn't visible. According to this one article.
What I heard
found.
is that the dad's body, they had to like get this Russian dude.
Yeah, they have Russian guys doing this one too.
He's like the most expensive dude, but he can get the job done to make it look kind of okay.
Yep. So they put him in his jumpsuit and they put him in this thing and he's sitting there with his little toes sticking up under a red sheet. But anyway, things of the day. We've done a bunch of, PMVs and AMVs for things of the day over the years. So I think it's time for a PPGMV.
Okay.
This is a Powerpuff Girls music video set to Him, the best character.
Him is the best.
Him, a.k.a. Akio in transvestite lobster form, is pretty much everything I like about Powerpuff Girls, as horrifying as that is.
I don't know why him isn't in every episode.
There's just something about
There was
him.
like so many Mojo Jojo episodes, and I was like, yeah, he's not that great. And then it's like, well, him should be the guy who's on all the episodes all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's my thing of the day. This is pretty funny.
So here's an awesome Flash game. It's called Let's Play, Ancient Greek Punishment.
Oh my God, do I get to be Sisyphus?
You can be Sisyphus, Tantalus, Prometheus, Danaids, or Zeno.
Do you wanna reveal what the deal with this game is, or let people play it?
Well, you play out the ancient Greek tortures of these various ancient Greeks.
Oh, yeah. So play these games and let us know when you win.
I'm filling the bath to wash away my sins. Here I
How's
go.
that going for you?
I got the water. I'm dumping it in the bath. All right, the bath is 20% full. I'm going back to get more water. Oh, the bath is full of holes.
No.
Well,
Try to push that rock up the hill. I heard that one's easier.
yeah, I'll try that one. Actually, the one where you where the bird, you got to scare the birds away from pecking away your liver. That one.
I could win that one with a drinking bird.
Yeah.
No, I guess the drinking bird would eventually falter. Also,
Two
drinking birds don't work unless they're dipping their beaks in some liquid. So, no. But anyway. That's it. Things of the day. Pretty good. In the meta moment, the book club book is 2 books, which we'll be doing soon.
Real soon.
Real soon.
Next week, probably.
They're your
maybe.
books.
Yep, it is. The Little Prince.
By
Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. And also Wind, Sand, and Stars.
Il C'est Magnifique.
By the same person.
They're amazing books. Straight up. I just got to tell you, you should read them.
And short-ish.
They're really The Little Prince, you can read in like
A couple hours.
a half hour. If you read it like quickly, 10 minutes. You'll
I
miss.
don't know, 10 minutes.
You can read that book in 10 minutes. You
I don't
might
know,
not.
10 minutes.
You might not grok it, but you can
Maybe
read
like
it.
a couple hours.
You could read all the words in like 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. We are going to be at the Penny Arcade Expo East doing stuff like we always do. And if you didn't buy a badge, well, you're fucked because it's sold out. You should have
And
bought it a long time ago, like we
You
said.
can go to Anime Boston instead. It's not sold out.
Yep. And I'm going to advertise. I'm looking for a system administrator, Linux and Windows in New York. Email me.
We're still not getting paid for this.
Email me.
This is not cool.
I'll give you a job. You want to work for me? I'm a cool guy.
It's not cool.
I'm a cool guy, and I need a guy.
We need to discuss
or
this.
girl.
We need to discuss this.
Otherwise, conventions are off in the distance.
Nerd NYC recess is this weekend.
Yes, Nerd NYC recess is this weekend. Scott will not be there because he's a little baby and has laundry to do and hair to wash.
Okay, what hair to wash?
I will be there. On Saturday only, I will be running one game in the evening slot, which I already ran at Burning Apocalypse Con to Accolades. And if you want to be in that game, well, good luck, because there's only 4 slots, and a lot of people want to be in that game.
Sure.
But I will play in some other games. I'll be there. I'll hang out. I'll say hi.
Well,
It'll be cool.
one other game, because that's all you get at recess is 2 games.
I think there's 3 games on Saturday.
Whoa.
I don't know. I haven't read any of the stuff. I'm just going to show up. But anyway.
That's that.
That's that. What?
That was pretty bad.
I'm still hurt from MAGFest. My
Sure.
throat is still not 100% back.
So we went to MAGFest X.
We have been to 2 MAGFests.
All right.
MAGFest is the third best gaming con there is. If you count both PAXs as one, and you count Kineticon's gaming as its own con.
And what about Essen?
I've never been to Essen, so it doesn't exist.
Well, that we've been to.
Yeah,
then,
that we've been
instead of-
to.
Right, so MAGFest, if you don't know, it was it's a 4-day,
4 days.
24/7 music and gaming fest. Not only is there gaming of all kinds, there is music of all kinds.
This is a con
of gaming kinds.
where you go to a con and you have 2 full days of conning, and then you realize when you wake up the next day, it's only Saturday. And you have 2 more full days of conning.
Yep.
And you know what? A lot of people show up Wednesday.
Yeah.
I mean, we showed up Thursday, like,
1
early
o'clock.
afternoon, and there were already a lot of people there. We'd already missed a lot of gaming.
Yeah, it's only a con of a few thousand people, like 5, 6, 7,000,
I heard
something like that.
Yeah, I heard that it was like 6-ish thousand, which was a lot. It was like 80% more than last year
That's
because
about
they
right.
were limited by the venue last year, which was this tiny little crap hotel in the middle of nowhere. Now they're in a weird venue.
Yeah, it's the Gaylord, which we've known about for a long time but haven't been to yet.
Katsukan is there now.
Yeah,
It is enormous, but not in the way that the BCEC is enormous. The BCEC, where PAX East is like a hangar for spaceships,
Yeah.
or perhaps a spaceship.
Yeah.
It is 3 gigantic, like gargantuan rooms, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. The BCC is like a long city filled with all different kinds of spaces.
Mm-hmm.
The Gaylord can only be described as something wrought from corruption on a civic level, coupled with grand visions of a 90s convention center.
It's just such a weird place because it's so fake, and it's like
it has a fake town around it and a fake town in it.
It's so strange.
It's we could do a whole show on just like this place that we were in.
But this place had to be created with mad corrupt monies from somewhere. I don't know. It's
the best we can say.
Go
I don't
look
wanna,
at if you look at it on Google Street View, you see it while it was still in construction, which is really strange.
Once I get the video up from this con, you'll see what we mean. So I don't want to dwell on it, but it was an odd place. It's kind of like if you took Roosevelt Island in New York City and put all the tourist places from New York, not the tourist attractions, like the real things like the Statue of Liberty, but all the kind of like shit tier tourism, like the South Street Seaport Mall and all those kind, like the TGI Fridays and stuff in Times Square, and put all that.
And a really crappy like part of Disney World, like just not rides, but like a character breakfast, and
if you put all
a
that
scenic walkthrough with animatronics
in its, like, you built a town just for that, multiplied it by corruption, and then let some commuters live there. It's weird, and I don't know what my opinion is of it. Like, I don't know what to say anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't want to review it. I want to review MAGFest. But suffice it to say, if you go to MAGFest next year or you go to Katsukan, you'll see what we mean. It was really weird how many people came to this place on Saturday, not for MAGFest, not for any other convention that was going on at the same time, but literally just to like go around the town and eat at the restaurants and like go to the character breakfast. This was like a resort destination for some people.
Very strange.
Yeah, it was weird.
Anyway.
So
the bad things we had to say about MAGFest
yes,
are the same bad things we probably said the last time.
Yes, when we review cons, we try to get everything bad we have to say out first, so we don't end on a downer.
I don't know. In the past, we go look and listen.
No, we try. We forget.
I haven't listened to our previous MAGFest show from the MAGFest 9, but I'm pretty sure we said the same things. Number one.
No, one's coming off the list, but we'll get to that.
All right, anyway. Reg still sucks.
It was not nearly as bad as last year,
but still sucks.
The Reg situation at MAGFest is unacceptable.
Yes.
In fact, we got to wait in the very short, like, special line, and you know what? It still took a while, like a half hour.
Yeah, you need that line to be way shorter. You don't
mail the badges. Just mail them, guys. You can do it.
Also,
I will help you do it. Email me. I will personally help you do it.
You could also just have, if you just had twice as many people doing the badge things, and you shorten the process to where it was like, bam, here's your badge, bam, here's your badge, then you'd be better. The one thing they did improve, though, from last year is last year, it was like specific badges were pre-numbered for all the people.
That was a disaster.
So they had to find your badge. This year, it was just like, here's your fucking badge. It's just the next one in the pile. And that sped things up a bit.
Yes.
But it's still major problems in the
Also,
rig.
if the con grows at all, they're going to hit the Otakon situation of, all right, we got 30,000 people we got to give badges to.
They're also still doing legally questionable things like making you sign a waiver and checking your ID and putting a wristband on you.
Yep.
Which other conventions do not do.
Actually, a lot of tiny, small shit conventions do some of that
big
stuff.
Big conventions don't. So I'm saying MAGFest, I've heard rumors, I don't know how true this is, that like someone on the MAGFest staff is sort of a lawyer and that they do this stuff. But it's like, listen, you need to get a real lawyer. You have 7,000 people going to a big fancy hotel. Get a real lawyer to tell you what to do, because I'm pretty sure I'm no lawyer, obviously.
Yeah, we are not lawyers. We are not giving you legal advice.
Based on my convention experience from other conventions, I'm pretty sure that's not what you do.
Yeah, the waiver, for one, in my non-lawyer opinion, means nothing.
Yeah.
You'd might as well hand them a piece of paper that says nothing on it and asking them to sign it.
Right.
Two, this bracelet thing we talk about, when you register, they take your ID. And when I say they, I mean just some con staffer. And they put on you either, a different colored wristband you're supposed to wear the whole weekend that designates whether or not you're 18 and or 21. The goal is so that people who do room parties don't have to worry about IDs for drinking and that no statutory rape occurs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that by doing an ID check that the con is now responsible if the wristbands get switched up, which is trivial for them to be.
Also, the staffer, I refused to put on the wristband.
I also refused to put on the wristband.
The staffer gave me shit. But you know what? One, I'm not wearing a wristband for the whole con, especially if it has no function.
Especially if it's mad uncomfortable.
And it has no function in the con itself. And that is totally a lawsuit waiting to happen. MAGFest, I love you. I don't want you to get sued. Do not offer this service. I agree. It's an awesome service. I love the fact that when people came to our room party we were hanging out in, one guy had a blue wristband, so we were like, yeah, dude, sorry, not giving you any beer. But, yeah. Legally,
that dude could have easily swapped that wristband for a green one if he wanted.
Yes, and we probably could have gone after you if we'd gotten in trouble for that.
That's right.
So while it's all cool, and I applaud the idea as being an awesome idea, in practice, fucking don't do it.
Yep. Secondly, they have a major problem with Securitad.
Yeah, this year they had. Now it's interesting because this is a complaint we have about most conventions we go to, in that they really don't know how to handle the fact that people will try to steal their stuff from their arcades.
It's really easy. Everything's bolted down. The end. That way no one can take it.
So what MAGFest did this year is, if you went into the main hall, which was tabletop, vending, arcade, and consoles all in one area, so pretty much 90% of the con.
The whole con, except for concerts.
If you walked in with any bag, they demanded to search your bag. And if you had a laptop or anything like that...
Well, it was weird. It's like if you walked in there with any sort of electronic thing, they wanted to check it into their system and put a barcode on your badge.
Yeah, you're not putting a sticker on my laptop, dude.
Yeah, screw you. It's
and
not
then
happening.
on the way out, they would search your bag and give you shit if you had a laptop. And it was just a disaster waiting to happen on so many fronts.
I would purposely go down there without anything. I never brought my laptop in there or anything so I could avoid being searched. And half the time when I walked out of the room, they wanted to look in my stuff. And when they looked, they just glanced. They didn't really look. Right?
So it basically it annoyed everyone. But
so
yet,
it just annoyed me for no reason. And half the time, they didn't even ask to look. I just managed to sneak out without getting looked at. And then it was like, well, if you're going to let people sneak out, why even bother?
It was a giant pain.
Just don't do it.
Two, and three, I guess the final thing, which is kind of part and parcel to this, is that they kind of made up rules inconsistently throughout the con. Like, all con, I would go out and buy a Starbucks in the convention and then take it back into tabletop. And at one point on Saturday, I came back with a coffee I just bought, and they're like, you can't bring that in here. No open containers. Out of nowhere. And they made me throw it away.
We had been eating
in.
and drinking in there the whole con,
and
the
they claimed it was because they didn't want me to spill something on the consoles, even though I was going to tabletop. But two, while I was being, they demanded I throw away my coffee, a guy walked in with 3 Subway sandwiches and 3 Subway drinks, and the same person let him go right through.
Yep.
So seriously, guys.
Here's my suggestion to you, MAGFest. The only thing you have to worry about, right, is your console stuff being stolen. No one's going to steal an arcade machine, right? The dealers can protect their own shit as
here-
long as you have security walking around.
Here's the problem. The dealer area is in the rest of the con shared space, so they can't just lock the room at the end of the night. They need to really put the dealers in a separate area.
Well, that's definitely true.
But that's just, they need to get bigger.
But-
They obviously couldn't get the space for that. They
Yeah.
can grow organically.
But anyway, the point is, it seemed like MAGFest was worrying about attendees stealing other attendees' things, and it's like, MAGFest,
Don't take that liability.
Don't worry about that. Attendees are gonna have their shit stolen if they're stupid, and that's their problem. It's not your problem. Just be like, well, tough shit, right? It's like you didn't protect your shit.
But the moment
But all
you
had
try to
worry-
help, the moment you try to do the right thing, you think it's cool. Yeah, we're going to protect everyone's stuff. Just like, yeah, we're going to try to
all
make
you're
sure
doing
that
is pissing
underage kids
off
don't
people
drink.
like us with hassling us.
Well, more
right?
importantly,
And
again, one could argue that you are assuming liability if something does get stolen.
but we're not lawyers. But
Even
I
though
would,
you
I
have
would guess that.
this fake waiver that probably, in our non-lawyer opinion, doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, all you got to do is protect your own console equipment by bolting it the fuck down, right? And if you got wireless shit, you need someone standing there taking
I
care
point
of
out
it.
they didn't protect any of the tabletop stuff. I mean, I walked in with like 15
Yeah,
games.
they didn't even have a tabletop checkout. Heels was like, oh my God, this tabletop is just games on a table with no one protecting it on Total Honor System, right? It's like I walked in and out with board games all night.
One time.
Nobody was checking to see if those board games I was walking out with belonged to the
One
library or were
time,
mine.
someone stopped me and said, "Are those all yours?" And I was like, "Yes." And I just kept walking. And I think he tried to stop me, but I just kept going. And they were all mine. But
Yeah, but it's like... Yeah.
okay, so guys, here's the cool thing. That is literally every complaint I have
Everything
about
about MAGFest other than that is the
Oh
awesome.
my God, MAGFest was one of the best cons I've been to since
Oh my God,
PAX.
playing games until 5 in the morning. Then
Dude,
waking
guys.
up to do a panel at 10 in the morning. And
On
then
Thursday,
a super art fight.
on Thursday, a little after midnight, we sat down to learn and then play Eclipse.
Well, some of us already knew how to play.
I didn't know how to play. At 5 a.m., we ended that game. I was victorious. And then at 10:30 a.m., we did a panel.
Eclipse is fucking awesome. We
Yep.
talked about that on Tuesday.
So here, let's talk about MAGFest. We can obviously, if you want to know like the vibe or like what MAGFest is like and all that, you can listen to our previous episode on MAGFest because really, almost none of that changed.
Nope.
It's the same vibe, same culture, same people, same arcade. All that same stuff is just as awesome, if not more awesome, than it was last year. So let's talk about what's different. One,
More space, which means that there was no BO smell.
yeah, last year, the BO problem was out of control. This year,
I got a BO problem.
This
I have
year-
a BO problem here.
there was effectively no BO other than the occasional like fat guy walking by and
I don't think the problem was different people. I think there was still BO people. I think it was just simply that there was so much space and so much air and so much ventilation.
dude, the ceilings were like 30 feet high. The
Yeah.
BO would go up
that there was no way you were going to smell the BO unless you were like, even at the DDR machine, you weren't going to smell it.
That was crazy. There were a ton of DDR and Bimani machines, and you know what? I wanted to play DDR, and there were people playing DDR continuously all night,
Even Thursday.
all night. And you know what?
You can go 3 a.m. DDR.
Even when the dude in the fursuit was doing 8 and 9 foot like maniac songs on the machine, there was no BO smell anywhere. I was kind of amazed because I'd go to an arcade and there'd be BO at the DDR machine.
I'm pretty sure there was BO smell in the fursuit.
Yeah, but it didn't get out, and it's all I care about. It's
Yep.
all I care about.
They had some awesome games. They had Initial D3, which is the one I've played the most, which is good.
6 is better, 5 is
sure
better, 4
6
is
is
better. But
better.
you know what? I sat down and played it. 3 is enough. That'll do, pig.
3 is still pretty fucking great. I can't imagine. I've played 4 a couple times. 5 and 6, I can't even imagine how
They
awesome
had
they are.
2 X-Men machines instead of 1 this year.
One didn't work.
They got it fixed at one point.
Did they?
I think it broke again.
The
but
pinballs they had were great, but there were people playing them the whole time. You'd like wait in such line to get pinball going.
You had to
on.
wait to play DDR and Initial D the whole time, too, except Thursday.
Yep.
I played all the
They had
Initial D I could
magical
on
drop. They
Thursday.
had 2 magical drops in Neo Geos actually.
They had 2 Dig Dugs side by side, 2 Ice Cold Beers side by side. It was, the arcade
One
was
of the
the
ice cold beers
best.
didn't really work, but it only was missing Rampart.
So last year,
Only Rampart or Initial D 456 could have improved that arcade.
I mused,
And more pinball.
how come PAX has a crap arcade compared to MAGFest? And this year I realized why. The machines failed and broke at a surprising, not a surprising, but a pretty good rate. relative to the number of people playing them at this con. And they had people fixing them constantly, but you could see
They got ahead of the game. They, because the problem is they were basically still sort of setting them up when we got there on Thursday, right? They didn't have them completely set up and all repaired when the con started. So even though the con started, they're still getting some of them up to working that weren't working on arrival.
So MAGFest, let's say it had 6,000
It's like they
people.
didn't start out at 100% working. They started out at like 67% working, and they had to build up
Let's say
as they
MAGFest
were using them.
had 6,000 uniques. Let's just say.
Okay.
A PAX has what, 15 to 20,000 uniques?
Yep.
Yeah, they would need like 4 MAGFest arcades, or else all the machines would fail.
Here's the solution. You ready for my?
4 arcades?
I got a few solutions.
Fill that third empty hangar with an arcade.
Here's my solutions. Ready? Number
Yeah.
1, you have so many games that even if everyone's using them like crazy, they're
Pinkie
not really
Pie,
gonna break
that's a
down.
lot of games.
That is. Solution number 2, get a lot of guys. Because remember, if you're getting that many games, you're bringing in Videotopia and the ACAM and
That's
the
what I
Retro.
say. You bring in multiple groups and
And
set
they're
up.
basically, you're bringing in Pinball Joe. You're bringing in everyone, and they bring in their whole crews. You have enough people who can fix the machines all at once.
And PAX has the money to pay for that, I
And
think.
some of the machines are really durable. Your Dig Dug's not going to go down. Only your ice cold beer and your pinballs are going to go down. Anyway, number 3, every machine, at least will be free, except the really popular ones. Set them on 25 cents mode, and all the money goes to Child's Play.
Oh my god.
Right?
Oh my god.
If it's a machine that's not really getting played, make it free. But the machines that are getting played like crazy, so you don't need to make Dig Dug 25 cents. I mean, that's bullshit, right? But, DDR, 25 cents. Initial D, 25 cents.
I'm used to paying $1 for Initial D, gladly.
Street Fighter 2, free. Super Street Fighter 4, whatever, Turbo, hundreds, whatever, 25 cents. No more than 25 cents, obviously, right? But 25 cents.
What about Fatal Fury?
And then those games, a guy will have to go around collecting the quarters, so he'll make sure the games are still working and in good condition when he goes to get the quarters.
I wonder if there might be legal stuff around that, but anyway.
What, having an arcade that charges a quarter is totally legal?
No, because venue licenses, it gets complicated when you do that. The moment you go from providing it for free to paying for it, there
Just an
are
idea.
legal
You just need
questions.
some of these. These are just some ideas.
Yeah.
To make sure
But
it
this
goes.
isn't the PAX show. It's the MAGFest show.
Also, bring a bunch of replacement joysticks and buttons and all that other good
So,
stuff.
another new thing. They
Also,
actually
set up the arcade a day in advance so it's 100%
They don't have the
working
resources for
at
that.
the start of the convention.
Anyway, different thing number 2. They had actual panel rooms that actually had enough seats for everybody.
And the convention center was very good about candy and water and all that kind of stuff.
That was a separate thing. I was talking about just the panel rooms.
It's part of panels.
No, I was
You
gonna
need
get to that.
water.
I was going to talk about the venue separately because I talked a lot to the convention center staff.
All right.
So the panel rooms were good. Only one room had a jank-ass broken projector, which was good because it let us cut down on the demoing and get to the actual discussion.
It seemed like their systems were good and working, but it didn't seem like they had enough microphones and they were moving them around a bit.
Which was fine because we're loud.
Yeah, I didn't even use microphones the whole panel time.
Yep. So we did Beyond D&D, which we rewrote for like the 4th time, and it went really, really well.
It's a good Beyond D&D.
It amazes me, though. MAGFest is weird. It's a con where it's a lot of hardcore gamers who, as far as I can tell, have never read the internet about gaming.
Yep.
Like, they have never heard of any of the stuff we talk about. We did, at one of the gaming intellectuals panels we were on, a guy was like, I'm going to demo this crazy game. And we had someone play the game. It was VVVVVV. The majority of the people in the room had never heard of it or seen it. I was like, what?
It's on Steam, guys.
Yeah, I was like, really? What? I didn't really play it a lot, but I knew about it. At one point, I was like, yeah, so you've all played Binding of Isaac, right? Like, nobody had.
Yep.
Nobody. It was, actually,
This is why you need to listen to Geeknights so that you will be taken into the future.
Dude,
We're basically
Geeknights?
living in the future.
and you go to MAGFest, you will be a god. You'll walk around and be like, hey, you want to play this game called Burning Wheel? And you will amaze people. Hell, you could be like, hey, you want to play Settlers of Catan? And a lot of people will be like, oh my god, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The tabletop library at MAGFest is kind of sad. That's why you got to bring your own.
It was okay. There were a lot of
But
good
people
games
love
there.
to play games there. So if you bring your own games, it's totally awesome. But
They
yeah,
had a good mix of really weird old games.
well, I guess what it is they have pretty much one of each of the standbys. They had 2 power grids, an Agricola, a bunch of settlers,
3 Puerto
a
Ricos.
Carcassonne, right? Some Puerto Ricos, right? So it's pretty much like, well, we don't need
They
any.
had all the Dominions.
That's true. They had one of every Dominion set. So it's like, it's not so exciting to us. It's like, oh, they
But
got all
they
the
had like
standards.
old Candyland and like crazy weird. They had the old Battlestar Galactica and this weird Astro Boy game. It was more like a lot of people played Candyland. You know why? they'd probably never actually played Candyland before, and there's something fun about playing a weird, crappy game at a con drunk at 5 a.m. with 4 strangers.
I saw people playing Monopoly.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was a pretty meager library, but they had, it's pretty much the basics, the staples.
It was pretty good, though.
It was okay.
So-
Bring your own tabletop games to MAGFest.
So let's talk about, panels a little bit. MAGFest has a weird panel culture, partly because I think the con grew out of kind of its own culture, kind of like how PAX grew out of Necrowambicon and its own culture. Meanwhile, Katsucon, Otakon, Anime Boston, all these kind of like standby cons, or like all the gaming cons or Genericon and everything, they grew out of a sort of shared culture, so they kind of do things the standard way. The panels culture at MAGFest is really weird. People in the audience just like shout stuff and just say things. They'll be like, they want to just like interact, like they want to just talk to you. And for the discussion panels, it was fine because we have a moderator and the audience like raised their hand, want to say something. But we did Beyond D&D, a straight up lecture, and half the audience kept like raising their hand. They didn't yell stuff out; they just raised their hand, and we ignored them because that's what we do. We don't engage with the audience. They kept their hands up the whole hour. One girl, I felt bad for her. She raised her hand, switched to the other hand, started holding it up with the other hand at the elbow. It's like, look, if it's not
one guy
obvious,
even opened his mouth. He's like, "Can I say?" I'm like, "No." All I said was no, and just kept going.
But after that, you know what he did? Raised his hand.
Well, this other guy raised his hand, and it's like he didn't realize that we weren't going to address anyone in the audience at any time for the entire panel. We didn't address a single person, but he thought somehow we were going to address him.
But anyway, we got video of all the panels and lectures we were on, and we're going to get them on YouTube as soon as I can edit them together. And that's it. They were really fun. They were really interesting. I think my favorite one was me, Scott, and Dr. Hazard just talking about like monetization models of games
And going
for an
off
hour.
on tangents that were off topic.
Yep, but it was way fun because I really liked talking to him, and we didn't get to see him and talk to him for more than like 2 minutes for the whole con. So the first time we see him to actually talk to him is on this panel. So it was just us and him talking to each other in front of an audience for an hour. It was great.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Ran into a lot of awesome people. John St. John was there. We didn't even get to say hi. But yeah, dude, he did his thing.
I've been to 2 MAGFests so far. Still haven't seen James Rolfe, not even from far away. I saw a line to see him, but I didn't see him through that line.
Yep. The last time I talked to him was when I invited him to be on our failed late show attempt at PAX. And then the follow-up email when he was like, yeah, I'm not going to be at PAX. And I was like, oh, that's fine. We just flew someone else in. We'll see
He
ya."
was at the last PAX, I think. 'cause
Yeah,
he
but-
made a video about it.
For whatever reason, we didn't get a chance to talk to him. I think we had a panel at the same time of his panel. I forget.
I don't even know anymore.
Something came. There was a reason why we didn't go talk to him.
Biggest fan of this guy, but we never see this guy.
I know, and it's weird. We're
Even-
in the same circles. Like he lives kind of near some people we know, and like there's parties where like people have
He's
been.
at the same conventions we're at.
Yep, we're both doing like lectures and speaker stuff, but it's like for all this overlap, we never talk. Kind of like how we know Dave Riley and Joel, but yet we never see them physically. We only talk to them on the inner tubes.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes.
Even though Dave's like right there, like in Brooklyn, but.
He didn't go to our
Anyway.
New Year's party.
Let's talk about the venue from a convention perspective. It's technically in Maryland, which is the same place that Otakon is at with the BCC. The convention center staff, not the con staff, the convention center in the hotel, was brilliant. They were so competent and like cool and collected, and like I was amazed how professional they were compared
They're
to
getting paid with mad corrupt monies.
the disastrous staff at the BCC.
Yeah.
Like Otakon.
Well,
like,
there's nothing wrong with Maryland, right? It's Baltimore.
Yep.
That's a problem.
But it's sad because, half
Maryland
my
is just-
complaints about Otakon are actually complaints with the BCC staff.
and
there's
Baltimore.
and
or
you
the,
know
and the
what?
security people they get.
There's nothing Otakon can do about that. I know the deal. I know
They
the
can
red
pay a
shirts,
lot
the
of
brown
money
shirts,
to
the
get
green
better
shirts, the yellow
sig-
shirts.
if
No,
they-
they can't.
Yes, they
Because-
can.
No, because in the BCC with the union rules and whatever, so they can choose from a number of vendors of security, and as far as I can tell, they're all actually the same.
You can pay a whole lot more money to get out of that. And
I
then
don't know if you can at the BCC.
There is always a way to pay money to get
Not
a different
always.
term on your contract.
Not always.
Because basically what you'd have to do is you have to pay that union as much as you would if they worked, then not have them work and instead also pay, say, Blackwater to come and do the security.
Okay, yes, there is a ludicrous and infeasible way.
I didn't say there was. I wasn't saying it was a feasible way. I said there was a way.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't get a badge to PAX, you could just found your own convention just as good as PAX and run it just for you. That's
Yes.
feasible.
You could. There is an amount of money you could actually pay.
Yeah, you know what, Scott, there is. It's called MAGFest.
It's like if I had enough money, I could just start a PAX and set the whole thing up and get the whole thing going and do all the work. And then, I could, and Robert Koo would be like, hey, what are you doing? I'd be like, I'm paying you to show up at this. He's like, really? I'm like, yes. How much? $1 zillion. All right. There's PAX 3 now, I guess, because Scott did it with $1 zillion. It could happen if you had $1 zillion.
But yeah, the convention center staff were scary, like in a good way. And I talked to a lot of them, and they basically...
I talked to a lot of people who were in the town, and I was like, so, what's up with this fake-ass town?
Yeah, the one girl I talked to was like, fuck if I know, I just work here. This place is weird.
I was like, you live in this fake-ass place?
She's like, fuck no.
She's like, no, I live outside. I don't live here. Because there are weird apartments in there and stuff. Dude.
Yeah, and the people live there.
Frightening.
Yeah. But the venue is, like, enormous. Otakon could fit in there, I think.
No.
What the trouble is, I didn't see all the space. Like, I know every nook and cranny of the BCC.
Yeah, there was more space, but yeah, there wasn't as nearly as many space as the whatever.
Granted, Scott, I went like into some of the service corridors and I got into some of the other space. There are a lot of different spaces in that convention center that were untapped.
There were many untapped spaces, but not nearly as much as the BCC.
Well, it's hard to say if it would be a suitable, like, viable alternative, and I have to figure that out. But to figure that out, I would have to actually, like, talk to the convention center and walk around it for real.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty big. MAGFest has a lot of room to grow. They will run into problems other than filling the space long before they fill the space.
Oh, I figured out where the corrupt monies came from.
Oh, will we?
The convention center hosted the 2011 Republican National Committee winter meeting at which the 2011 Republican National Committee chairmanship election took place.
Duly noted.
There you go. It opened in 2008. Oh, so maybe the corruption came in 2008. It cost $870 million to build.
Wow. The one they want to build in New York is going to start at, $1 billion? So...
Yeah, that's so corrupt also, but you know what? I kind of don't care because it serves, even though it's not
Yeah,
gonna
if the biggest convention center in North America happens to be on the same subway line I live on, I am not going to complain.
no matter how corrupt or evil or harmful it may be, for those 5 conventions a year, I'll go to it for probably, because you'll see all the conventions will move to it out of the Javits. I'll be going to New York Comic Con there. Someone will start another con there. That'll be awesome. Maybe the PAX will be there once it's out of Boston. Who knows?
Yep.
But yeah.
So what else can we say about MAGFest other than stuff that we said in the previous show about MAGFest?
You should go to it.
It's really fun.
We still didn't go to the concerts just because you were gaming like crazy.
But Nobu was there with Earthbound Papas.
And you can
know
see
what?
it all on YouTube, and he was awesome.
The whole thing's on YouTube. He did the Colossus Roar.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Some other band, I think it was Bit something, I forget their name. They had a guy play Mega Man 2 all the way through, and they played the music during the whole thing.
There was, and I do want to bring this up because you could not avoid it, a lot of My Little Pony at this con.
There was indeed much pony, even though BronyCon in New York was the same weekend. There was mad pony at MAGFest.
Mad social currency, and a girl dressed up in My Little Pony stuff totally groped my ass walking out of convention center after we talked about ponies. I think she was drunk.
I had to tell on Rim. I had to tell Emily on him because he was groping all the pony ladies. I was like, Rim,
there was so much pony.
You're not allowed to be groping ponies.
The thing is, though, one girl, she made these cute
What's
rainbow...
the word for somebody who gets around with ponies? Equestrophilia?
Equestrophile? Ponophile? I don't know. But of all the stuff, there was this one hat that was kind of cute. It was like a Rainbow Dash hat, but actually, when you wear it, it looks like you have Rainbow Dash's scalp. Like you've scalped her and put it on your head.
Yeah.
It was kind of actually creepy seeing people wearing the hat.
Yeah, not a fan.
Oh, the guy who does that like canvas pixel art was there. I like that guy.
Yeah, I gotta get him to make me something to go over my TV.
Yeah, I grabbed a lot of business cards. They're really cool people. The culture of the con is great. You know what? MAGFest in this venue had one thing going for it. The majority of the con was in one gigantic room. So, you know how you do the wave in a stadium and it keeps going for a while? The Colossus Roar would start, and when people were feeling it, at like 3 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, it definitely increased at night. There'd be a lot more roaring.
But it would keep going for like 5 minutes, like looping around the room.
Minutes.
Saturday, one time, it just wouldn't stop because I remember it just kept going and kept going. It started to die out. And then over by the machine, we hear it start up again. It just didn't stop. And then Wyatt looks at me. He's like, oh my God, I want to punch every motherfucker in the motherfucking face.
If he said that to me, you know what I would have said?
You know what I said to Wyatt?
What?
I love that aspect of MAGFest so much.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like normally, right? That would be like, butt scratcher.
Butt scratcher. You know why? Because there's an unspoken rule. If you hear the Colossus roar, you respond in kind only if you are feeling it. So 6 a.m., I'm not feeling it anymore. And you know what? No one else is too. So when one guy does it...
But people are feeling it at 10 p.m.
Oh, my God. MAGFest is awesome. If you're a gamer of any stripe, you should go to MAGFest.
Or like listening to video game music.
If you like our kind of shit at MAGFest, tell them you liked it. If you went to our panel and you liked it, tell them, so we will do more stuff at MAGFest. Also, if you liked Super Art Fight at MAGFest, tell them.
Yeah, we went to the Super Art Fight. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
I got photos of MAGFest and also of the Super Art Fight in my Flickr because I got a camera now.
Yes, we will have a whole bunch of content from MAGFest up on the inner tubes in short orders.
I have photos of things. Oh, snap.
And, of course, if, kind of end this, if you want to see us at other cons, just tell the cons. Don't tell us because I don't care anymore. But if you tell a con and they come to us, that has a lot more weight. MAGFest came to us. We were like, all right, dogs, we're down. And you know what? MAGFest is added to the list of cons I would go to even if I were not a guest. I would show up and pay just to play games. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.